There is a moment, almost imperceptible, when a woman hears something she wasn't expecting, and it awakens something in her. Not because the words were grand, or poetic, or rehearsed, but because they reached a place inside her that is rarely touched. A place that longs to be seen, but not exposed, recognized, but not judged, desired, but not possessed. Tonight, I want to explore the kind of compliments that carry this quiet power. The ones that bypass the predictable and instead slip into the intimate. The ones that are not about flattery, but about presence. The power of seeing someone beyond the surface begins with a shift in attention. Most people comment on what is easy to notice: beauty, charm, style, but few take the time to observe the subtleties that reveal a woman's inner landscape. When a man names what is rare in her, he isn't simply offering a compliment, he is acknowledging the parts of her she doesn't put on display for everyone. This creates an immediate sense of distinction because it shows he is not speaking from habit or from a script. He is speaking from presence. The moment a woman feels that someone is truly present with her, she experiences a different kind of intimacy, one that does not rely on touch or flirtation but on perception. Seeing beyond the surface means noticing details that speak to her identity, not just her appearance. Maybe it's the way she listens with intention, or the way she holds herself when she is unsure, or the quiet confidence she carries when she thinks no one is paying attention. These are reflections of her character, and when they are named, it feels like a recognition of her humanity. Compliments like these create an emotional resonance because they affirm something deeper than vanity. They affirm the parts of her that she has built, earned, struggled for, or protected. When she hears a compliment that touches these hidden layers, she feels understood rather than evaluated. The rarity comes from effort and discernment. Anyone can say good things, not everyone can notice meaningful things. When a man articulates what many overlook, she recognizes the intentionality behind his words. This intention communicates desire, but not in a way that pressures her. Instead, it feels like respect. It feels like being valued for her complexity. In a world full of superficial attention, depth becomes magnetic. It communicates a kind of emotional intelligence that women instinctively gravitate toward. They feel safer around someone who sees without exposing, who understands without assuming, who observes without intruding. There is also an unspoken message in seeing someone deeply. I am paying attention because you matter. Not because I want something from you, not because I'm trying to impress you, but because who you are genuinely interests me. This sincerity creates a bond that feels both grounding and stimulating. It invites her to bring more of herself into the space. She becomes more open, more expressive, more curious in return. And when a connection begins with depth, it naturally develops a sense of emotional chemistry that is hard to ignore. Desire thrives in the delicate space between curiosity and authenticity, a space where two people are neither performing nor predicting each other, but discovering one another in real time. Curiosity is the spark that keeps interactions alive. It signals that you are not trying to define or capture someone too quickly. Instead, you are allowing them to unfold. When a woman senses that you are genuinely curious about her, not interrogating, not probing, but simply open to who she is, she feels invited rather than scrutinized. It is a curiosity that listens more than it asks, that pays attention to the tone behind her words, the pauses, the expressions that reveal her emotional world as much as her stories do. Authenticity is what gives that curiosity direction. It is the grounding force that keeps desire from becoming manipulation or game-playing. When you express yourself from a place of honesty, without exaggeration or strategy, you create a foundation of trust. Authenticity is not about confessing everything or being emotionally naked, it is about being aligned with your intentions, speaking from a place that is real rather than rehearsed. Women sense this alignment quickly. They can feel when a man is trying to be impressive versus when he is simply being himself. And desire naturally emerges when she feels both seen and safe, understood but not controlled. The forbidden nature of certain compliments comes from how they sit exactly at this intersection. They show that you are curious enough to notice something personal, yet authentic enough to express it without turning it into a performance. You're not guessing who she is, you're reflecting what you genuinely observe. This kind of attention carries a subtle charge because it mirrors a truth about her that she may not even have articulated herself. When a woman feels that you are discovering her with sincerity, her attraction builds gradually but powerfully. It feels like a dance, one where each step reveals a bit more, yet nothing is rushed. This interplay between curiosity and authenticity also prevents the dynamic from feeling one-sided. She doesn't feel like an object of fascination or a puzzle to be solved. Instead, she feels engaged in an exchange. Your curiosity invites her into the moment, and your authenticity assures her that she can meet you there without needing to hide or perform. In this space, desire breathes more freely. It becomes a mutual experience, not a pursuit. It deepens through the rhythm of attention, honesty, and the subtle thrill of being known in a way that is both gentle and intentional. This is where emotional attraction takes root, not in declarations or grand gestures, but in the quiet interplay of presence and truth. Certain compliments feel forbidden because they touch a depth that most people are either too cautious, too distracted, or too disconnected to acknowledge. They don't revolve around beauty or charm, which are safe and predictable territories. Instead, they name something about who she is the parts of her identity that she has cultivated over years, often privately, often without expecting anyone to notice. These compliments resonate differently because they validate not appearance, but essence. They reflect her inner world, her emotional intelligence, her values, her resilience, her contradictions, and her quiet strengths. When a man can articulate these qualities with sincerity, it feels almost intimate, even if the moment is brief. It feels like an unveiling, not of something hidden, but of something overlooked. The reason these compliments feel rare is because they require perception, presence, and emotional nuance. Anyone can say you're beautiful. Fewer people can say, I admire the way you stay calm when others panic, or there's a steadiness in you that feels grounding, or I notice how your words carry intention. These are not statements about her body or her style, they are reflections of her character. They reveal that you are paying attention in a way that goes beyond the superficial. And when someone sees your character, it feels both validating and vulnerable. She may wonder, how did he notice that? What does he see in me that others don't? What does he understand that I don't even say out loud? These questions create emotional charge, not through shock value, but through truth. This is why the compliments feel forbidden. They walk the line between emotional intimacy and respectful distance. They are bold enough to be memorable, yet considered enough to feel safe. They show interest without possession, understanding without intrusion. They are honest without being heavy. When a woman receives a compliment that mirrors her internal reality, she experiences a moment of recognition, a sense of being met exactly where she is. This feeling is powerful because it taps into a universal human longing, to be known. Another reason certain compliments strike so deeply is because they cannot be given casually. They require that you have listened, that you have observed, that you have felt something. They show that your attraction is not impulsive but discerning. This discernment is compelling because it suggests emotional maturity. It conveys that you value depth and connection, not just surface chemistry. Women respond to this because it aligns with their own desire to be appreciated for who they truly are. When your compliment reflects her inner self rather than the image she presents to the world, it carries a magnetic pull. It lingers long after the conversation ends because it speaks to a truth she rarely hears, yet quietly hopes someone will someday see. The art of revealing interest without performing or pleasing is a subtle, almost paradoxical skill. Many men approach attraction with the instinct to impress, to entertain, or to charm, believing that the louder they are, the more appealing they will seem. But real magnetic attraction is rarely born from performance, it is born from presence. It is about showing interest in a way that feels natural, measured, and intentional, without the undercurrent of expectation or obligation. When a man expresses curiosity, admiration, or recognition without trying to earn approval, he creates a tension that is quietly compelling. It signals confidence not through words or gestures, but through the ability to witness and respond authentically. This skill requires a delicate balance. It is not disinterest, nor is it aloofness, it is attentiveness without attachment to outcome. Women instinctively notice when attention is given purely for effect, or when a compliment is an attempt to gain favor. That energy feels transactional, and it triggers instinctive skepticism. But when interest is expressed without an agenda, when words are offered because they are true, and presence is offered because it is genuine, the effect is entirely different. It communicates, without saying outright, that you are secure enough to appreciate her without needing to control the moment or the response. That security, in itself, is magnetic. Revealing interest without performing also creates space for curiosity and intrigue. She senses that you are engaged, but not predictable. Your attention is not a commodity she can claim, but a reflection of your authentic perception. This subtlety activates a deeper emotional response because it honors her autonomy while still establishing connection. It is the difference between admiration that seeks reward and recognition that is freely given. By demonstrating that your engagement is not contingent on validation, you signal emotional literacy, and women respond to this with heightened awareness and receptivity. There is an elegance in this restraint. You do not need to embellish, exaggerate, or dramatize your observations. You do not need to push, persuade, or chase. Instead, you allow the interaction to unfold organically, letting your words and presence carry weight because they are deliberate. The forbidden allure of this approach lies in its authenticity. It is a departure from conventional social scripts, a quiet rebellion against the performative gestures that dominate most encounters. It creates a sense of depth and trust because she knows that your attention is a reflection of who you are, not a tool to elicit a reaction. When interest is revealed in this way, attraction is no longer about superficial charm or fleeting impression, it becomes about emotional resonance. She feels seen, acknowledged, and understood, but in a way that invites her to explore the interaction at her own pace. It becomes a dance of mutual recognition, where desire is nurtured through perception, presence, and respect rather than performance. This approach fosters a magnetic pull that is both subtle and undeniable, creating a foundation for connection that is compelling, enduring, and deeply human. When intentional language is used, it does more than convey a compliment, it creates a magnetic emotional pull that goes beyond words. Most interactions are filled with habitual expressions, fleeting observations, and polite acknowledgements, but intentional language cuts through the noise. It signals that you are not merely speaking, you are communicating with awareness, with purpose, and with presence. Every phrase, every nuance of tone, every choice of word matters, because it carries the weight of attention. When a woman senses that your language is deliberate, she experiences a subtle but profound shift. She realizes that your interest is rooted in observation, understanding, and authenticity, rather than casual convention or empty flattery. Intentional language works because it engages the mind and the heart simultaneously. It speaks to qualities she recognizes in herself, yet rarely hears articulated aloud. It captures her essence without reducing her to surface traits. When you describe her impact, her presence, or her energy with specificity, it creates a resonance that feels personal, even intimate. She senses that you have observed, reflected, and chosen your words carefully, which communicates a depth of attention that is rare and compelling. In a world saturated with generic praise, this precision is magnetic because it feels truthful and rare. It is a language that affirms who she truly is, not just what she shows the world. Another element of intentional language is timing. It is not only what you say, but when and how you say it. A well-placed observation in a quiet moment, a gentle acknowledgement of her subtle gestures, or a remark that reflects a shared understanding can evoke feelings that linger long after the words are spoken. These moments create emotional bridges, forming a sense of connection that is both immediate and lasting. They invite her into a space where she feels both seen and valued, where the interaction becomes more than casual conversation, it becomes an exchange charged with recognition and meaning. Intentional language also fosters intrigue. Because it is deliberate and discerning, it leaves room for interpretation and curiosity. She may find herself thinking about what you said long after the moment has passed, replaying your words and feeling their subtle impact. This lingering presence creates an emotional pull that is difficult to resist. It allows attraction to develop organically, rooted in the awareness that you are attentive not only to her appearance, but to the qualities that define her uniqueness. The magnetic effect of intentional language lies in its ability to communicate depth, respect, and understanding simultaneously. It is not manipulative or performative, it is precise, considered, and expressive of genuine perception. Through these words, you create a space where connection is possible, where curiosity and recognition intersect, and where attraction grows not as a result of charm or bravado, but as a natural response to being truly observed and acknowledged.